stick together forever, ever, ever, ever.
Hey, I'm Mr. Scary Billy D, coming to you live and loud from the top of Mile High
City's 24-hour contagion station. I'm talking about
the Audioasylum, Hallucination Invasion Radio.
Making some sound for the Rocky Mountain Coast Tribe.
Is now the ultimate power in the universe.
Join the nations of
noise.
Hey, how's everybody doing today, man? I am Scary Billy Drex, and you are live and loud right here with the Audioasylum, and we are sitting down today with Miss Sabrina Fallah out of I almost said California, out of Canada, and she is going to sit down and put up with our crap for the next hour or so. So come and hang out, and let's get to know this young lady, because she is an awesome songwriter. She's got quite a little repertoire under her belt, and we are pleased as punch to have her today with us. So please welcome Miss Sabrina Fallah. Yes, how you doing today?
I'm doing very well. Thank you for having me.
Oh no, thank you for being here. Honestly, man, this is a pleasure, man. Like I said, we kind of have done this before in a roundabout way. It's been a while. You were doing an interview with a friend of mine on another station, and I was kind of a co-host, but I didn't really. He was asking all the questions I wanted to ask, so I never really got to say a whole lot.
Aww. He beat you to it, huh?
Yeah, but that it was right when you released the singles for "Kiss Is the Killer" and "Hurt" and everything.
Oh yeah, okay. So, wow, 2016.
So yeah, it's been a little while. So and you know. We've had your stuff in rotation ever since, because it's just I like the way you write. You have a very unique way of writing.
Thank you.
And also, I also wanted to bring up that you are also our inaugural Canadian. I've never interviewed a Canadian before, and so welcome to our circle.
I feel special now.
I'm sure.
The first Canadian who gets interviewed. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we play a lot of bands from Canada, but I've never actually had any of them on here. So you are our first.
Oh, maybe one day soon. After this, they may come running to you and be like, "Hey, I want to be interviewed too."
Well, one can hope, right? No, but yeah, welcome, man. Welcome to the Audioasylum. So tell us a little bit about yourself. I got a lot of people that I've talked to in the last few days that that have heard you for the first time from the stuff.
Oh, yeah.
So give us a little background. Tell us a little about Sabrina Fallah.
Well, I am from Ottawa, Ontario, Canada. I'm a singer-songwriter. I play guitar. I started with piano at the beginning to know the theory, and then I grabbed the guitar. I love performing, and it's hard to get me off the stage. Sometimes I get kicked off. It has happened that I went over that normally when you do shows, sometimes they leave a little bit at the end in case you go over, but I didn't know they were so strict at the festival that they were kicking me off, and I'm like, wow. First, but that was funny. And I forgot to mention that I'm a rock singer as well. And my influences are Green Day, Bon Jovi, and Billy Idol. And I've seen them all in concert. And Billy Idol, I was in the first, right at the gate in front of him. He gave me his signed set list.
Get out of here. Seriously.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I'm sure we were looking at each other quite a bit because I'm right in front of him. He gave me the set list, so he saw me. He saw me, especially at that moment.
He knew me.
So I got eye to eye with him for that second. Was awesome. He's so good live. Oh my God!
I know.
He still has it. He's still got it.
I haven't seen him in a very long. The only time I ever saw Billy Idol, I was probably about 15 maybe, and he came to Astroworld. I lived in Houston, Texas.
Oh.
I lived in Houston, Texas at the time, and I was like in junior high, and he came to Astroworld on the Rebel Yell tour. And it was one of the
Rebel, yeah, love that song.
And it was one of the most awesome times I ever had as a kid. It was one of my first concerts.
Thinking about that, was he singing "Shock to the System" at that time?
I couldn't honestly tell you that. I was 14, 15 years old.
It was interesting when I saw him in 2017 at the Blues Fest. The first song he played was "Shock to the System." And that's my favorite song of his. I was freaking out. I was like, he's starting with my favorite song. And it sounds so much better live because you're hearing all the effects.
Right.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Crazy.
He was one of the, like I said, this was like back in the early 80s, when he first came out. And he had put out, I think he only had 2 solo albums out at the time. And Rebel Yell was brand new. And he came with like Night Ranger, I think it was, and they played at Astroworld, and he was a teenager's dream, man.
yeah,
totally.
There's just something about him that keeps me going. Like Green Day is the band that their American Idiot album got me into rock, which led me into becoming a rock singer, which got me to be in rock and wanting to pursue it, but also doing it my own way, not taking Green Day style and copying them, because I don't want to be known as the artist that copied. Sometimes they say artists are taking it and they're taking it to... No, I'm so thankful that people hear their influence and inspiration in my music and don't say I'm trying to be them, because I can't be them.
Exactly.
I can't be Green. And with Bon Jovi, it's just his voice, and I've seen him live, and it was so funny when I saw him. I can't remember when, but it was a long time ago. He had the same injury as I did at that time, his ligament, and I was like, how is he moving and jumping with that problem? And I was in the crowd because I heard that day he was having like doctors to help him with his leg. And I'm like, can I have a doctor too? But I'm jumping with them. But they're just so good live, those bands.
I remember Bon Jovi when he had like, 1.5 foot of hair on top of his head.
Those bad medicine days and stuff. Huh?
I remember. Well, even before that.
Bad Medicine is such a good song.
Yeah,
oh my God.
That's my memories. But
Bon Jovi is the thing about records are so polished to be sold in stores to be so good that on stage when you hear him, sometimes I feel like they're better live because you can hear their actual rawness.
It's like raw,
But you have to do that to sell. But on stage, they can at least perform and they can sing. You know that they're actually doing it.
Exactly.
There is nothing. There is no track behind them or anything.
It's all right in front of you. Yeah,
it's all right in front of you, which is very good.
Well, it's like hearing it on like a CD or whatever is not an experience. It's not an experience.
It's different.
But when you see it live, it's like a carnival ride.
Also, if you see them live and then you hear the song on the CD that you heard live, you imagine that live show you saw, and it's sinking into like the record.
Yes. Oh yeah. That's one of my biggest arguments, especially with like a lot of the metal bands and stuff these days. Is I'm a fan of I'm a really big fan of like the early '80s like heavy metal movement, like really '80s thrash metal stuff. That's me. That's my personal preference. But here's the thing: my argument with a lot of this stuff today is very similar to what you just said, because to me, it's like it's transformed into something that has to be so shiny and so polished and so perfect. And heavy metal of all genres is not meant to be like that, really.
No, and that's why
you lose it in the translation.
And that's why rock, if you hear my first EP, the Sabrina Fallah one that I did in England, I sang that live off the floor, like all together with the band, as if I was live on stage. So that's how I sound live. There was no touch-up or anything to be fixed. I told my producer, don't do it. And then when I heard it, I'm like, if anybody hears this CD and hears me live, they're going to hear exactly the same thing that I'm doing, because it wasn't fixed.
Right.
To the point of
no enhancements.
Technical, exactly. No auto-tune, no... Oh, there's so many things I tell the producer not to do, because I don't want to be so polished. But
well, that's kind of what
they still do it. But I try to tell them, if you can just not do that, that would be great. I tried, but it's industry and there's so much you can say. But I try my best to keep it as raw and not so fixed. I like them to hear a bit of rawness, and not like raw meaning don't polish it too much.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Keep it to sound as if I'm singing it live.
Yeah, and I get that, and that's one of the things that I did notice about the songs that you release, is there is a certain rawness to it, and not just in the production, but I noticed in a lot of the lyrics that you write are pretty raw. I mean, there's a lot of
they're very simple. They're not difficult. I noticed some bands which are good, but their songs are so difficult to even remember lyrics sometimes.
Right.
So I've been told that when you write, don't write too simple, but write to the point, and also write in a way that when people hear the music, they can follow along with the lyrics easily and memorize it faster. Because if the lyrics are very difficult, nobody can sing along with you, really. Well, that's what I think.
Right. Yeah, you want something that people can relate to right off the bat. That's a hard mix to find.
I can sing along with songs is because I know the lyrics. It's quick.
Right.
I don't read lyrics to know cover songs. I just listen to the song, and I can hear the lyrics that the singer is singing, because it's so clear.
Right.
It's very... If you can sing clearly, you don't even need lyrics in front of you. You can just hear it in your ear.
Yeah, I definitely think that there's at times, and it's not just with singing either, because it's anyone that's any kind of musician, I think, knows that there's a vibe that you can tap into. That turns it from being like an exercise in performance into a vibe. An actual live living vibe, and that's that's a tricky thing to tap into. But if you can do it, I mean, you're in. You know what I mean? Yeah. I mean, I fashion all the shows that I do, even like the radio shows that I do, like Red Radio later. Red Radio is not, or any of the other shows that I do, they're not based on like. What do you say? What's popular at the moment or whatever. It's based on a vibe. There's no playlist involved. So whatever you hear me play is how I feel at that moment, because I'm trying to create a vibe, Yes. And I want it to be raw. And
Yes.
like what you do. I want my shows to be raw, and I want it to be unpolished, and and
and
so I totally feel you what you mean about that.
I think on stage, like. I tell the engineer, don't add anything to the mic. Like, you know, like sometimes on stage people put like stuff into the mic for the
like compressions
sound.
and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah. I think I just realized that every time I have been performing, I've never really had anything on the mic, or I just don't know if they put it in there.
Well, you've got a pretty solid voice. I mean, in all of your songs, I mean, your voice comes through very clear. I mean, it's very solid. It's very solid.
Thank you.
No, I mean, I mean that. I mean, it's definitely.
Well, if you want to know a story,
always.
When I was young, I didn't have this voice. I had a very thin pop voice. And I used to sing a lot of Michelle Branch, which I still do because I grew up with her.
Right.
And to get into my rock voice, I had to get a vocal coach that is specific into rock. And he had to teach me how to push my voice forward and pop those sounds to make it more rock sounding.
Right.
And then I was listening, and then when Green Day came in, I started singing Green Day like all the time, to copy how they push the voice, because pop singers don't really push their vocals.
His vocals are very pushed. I hear you.
Yeah. So, but like, did you know the story with Bryan Adams? He had like a girl voice, and then he fixed it into this punky, rocky voice. Like a lot of singers who are rock singers, they had to build their voice to that.
Right.
Point. It's not like I was born as a rock singer. It took a long time, but as I did it, it became part of me. But the rasp was always in me. I just had to know to make sure I was doing it right, because if you push it the wrong way, you can hurt yourself. So I was told, when you rasp, let it come whenever it wants, and don't add it, because by adding it, it won't sound as good as if it just comes out naturally.
Right.
Well, that's what my vocal coach told me.
Well,
because you really don't need rasp everywhere. Well, for the style of music I'm doing, I don't need to put rasp in every single word that I'm singing. It'll just come out naturally.
You have a gift about writing the melodies and stuff. You definitely have a gift with that. There's some interesting changes in some of the stuff you write too.
Like with Evanescence, Amy Lee, you know how she sings.
Right.
She doesn't put rasp in everything.
No, she doesn't.
But the production behind her is so strong. It adds into her beautiful vocals. Yeah. Which makes her sound like she is, but she's not. Oh my God, I love Evanescence. I've been listening to her music a lot lately. I'm getting into the Evanescence vibe. So good.
Yeah. I was going to ask you about who some of your favorite singers were, but you've been kind of telling us.
Well, outside the influences, because my males are more influenced, because I have actually, very interesting, my vocal coach, which I had, David, before I went to Elaine, he told me that I have the same vocal range as Bon Jovi.
Really?
It's funny how I can go as low as him up to as high as him. Billy Joe Armstrong is so different compared to Bon Jovi's range. So any Bon Jovi song I sing, it's easy for me. As soon as it gets to Green Day, I have to go up or down or find the right key.
It seems like Armstrong would be a lot lower than Bon Jovi would.
He is.
And it's not just lower.
That's why I have to raise it.
Yeah,
I have to raise it.
It's not lower. I mean, it's not just lower. It's also very broad. Billy Joe Armstrong is a very, in-your-face kind of singer, so, yeah.
Yeah.
That's got to be crazy.
And it's good. You don't want to sound the same as everybody. You want to have your own unique vocal range.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So, like I was saying, I used to listen to a lot of Avril, Evanescence. I like Simple Plan, too.
Simple
Yeah,
Plan?
if you know of Simple Plan. Did you know of them?
Oh, yeah.
Love. I grew up with them. I have all their songs.
Really?
They're also Canadian. Yeah, Avril Lavigne's Canadian too. Yeah, Simple Plan is from Montreal.
Ah, I did not know that. But I mean, I was a fan of them ever since that movie, you know.
They have, the Olsen twin, the movie, the one where they came to sing in the movie with Mary Kay and Ashley.
I must have missed that episode.
Yeah, I know. I grew up with Mary Kay and Ashley, so
yeah. Well,
I don't know where they're living now, but they were from Montreal, and Avril was from Napanee.
Oh, well, I knew that Avril was from Canada, but I didn't know that Simple Plan was. But yeah,
they're French because of Montreal, but they speak English too. But they're French.
Ah, I see.
I like the American Rejects.
Oh yeah.
They're good.
Right on.
There's so many bands. I just don't know. I just can't remember them all. But I just listen to so many. Let's see. Aerosmith, Def Leppard.
So,
my gosh.
I noticed you have quite a list a list of producers you've gotten to work with too. That's a pretty impressive list of producers that you've hung out with, and their repertoires as well. That's really awesome. So it says in your little bio that that you got discovered on LinkedIn.
I know. Out of everywhere else. Right?
Well, first off, I should explain that I am I'm like social media. I'm really slow at that stuff, so I had to look up what LinkedIn was. I had no idea what it was.
Yeah, LinkedIn is like a place where people put their business stuff information.
Yeah.
So 1 year, many years ago, somebody said, put your stuff on LinkedIn because you never know what's going to happen. I'm like, okay, it's not like anything's going to happen on LinkedIn anyway. Like, who puts the stuff on LinkedIn, you know?
Right.
So about in 2018, I got discovered on LinkedIn. And I didn't go on LinkedIn for about a year. So one night around 10 o'clock, I just go on LinkedIn and I'm like, I'm going to see who has messaged me on LinkedIn.
See, check it out.
And then I get this email with, I was so lucky, or else I would have missed it, you know? And this guy wrote me and said, about a label in Montreal that they think would like to work with me. So he told me about them and contacted the label and talked to them for quite a while because the label, which I am with now, wanted to make sure I was really like, if this is really what I want to do, because once you're in it, you can't get out. Like once people know you can't be like, erase me from the world. Nobody's going to know me anymore. Once you hit, your life is. People know you.
Yeah,
so, and then
it's a commitment. Yeah, and
I know,
I see that too.
It sounds funny, but it's true.
Yeah,
you can't erase it. You can't erase it.
Yeah.
You can change your name, but people can still recognize you, right?
Right.
So I told my label, yes, I want it, or else I still want to be fighting for it.
Right.
Like I've wanted this since I was 14. And we talked. They noticed I've done a lot, and that I told them I'm like, once you get signed, it's not like everything is like given to you. You still have to work and prove yourself in the industry.
You're just
with
given
your
the
label.
opportunity. The rest is up to you.
I'm just given the opportunity to get distribution and some marketing and some team behind me supporting me, but I'm still doing all the work.
Exactly.
Like it's not. Yeah, I'm happy I'm signed, but now the work has started. So once I got signed, my goal was to get on mainstream.
Right. Yeah,
So
and you've got quite the list of mainstream Canadian stations here, too.
I'm also in Brazil. Funny,
yeah,
right?
there you go. Hey,
yeah. So
take it where you can get it, man.
Anywhere. So in January 2019, I got signed. In November 2019, I got my first mainstream radio opportunity, which got me to be interviewed. And from that day, I got more radio, and I couldn't believe how my label was right. Once one radio says yes to you, the rest will follow.
Once you get in the door.
It's because they told me mainstream stations know each other. And if one station gives an artist a chance, the other ones are going to say, hey, why not?
Well, I don't know about how radio stations are up there, but only 2 companies own all the radio stations here in this country. So, yeah, distribution.
Well, I'm not saying all of them said yes to me. I'm just saying they will give me the chance to at least present myself.
Exactly.
But I've been. It's hard, but I'm very positive when I'm emailing people. I don't email them with a negative mind. I email them with a positive mind, saying to myself that as soon as I press send, I'm going to get a yes. And most of the time, I get yes. I think it's because I'm so consistent. I'm so consistent.
Yeah, you got to be relentless.
You just have to push through. And if somebody says no, say, you know what? The next person is going to say yes.
Yeah, you got to be relentless.
You just have to push through. And then something happens, you succeed, then they're going to be sorry they didn't take you. That's how it works. Do you know with the Harry Potter book, a big publisher said no to the lady who wrote it.
Yeah,
a small publisher took her and made her. Yeah, so anything can happen. You just have to keep going. It's amazing how a little publishing company blew up.
Exactly.
No, because she didn't give up. She said, you don't want me? I go somewhere else.
Somebody will.
And the other publisher is probably like, oh my God, what did we do?
Right, I bet they're still kicking themselves in the ass over that one.
Well, that's what happens with artists. One label says no. The other label says yes. They make them the money. The other one's like, oh my God, why didn't we see it? Because you were thinking too much about what you wanted and then think about what the public wants. Sometimes the label thinks too much of what they want.
Well,
not what the public wants.
Well, there you have it,
money,
folks.
Money. I'm saying it because it's true. That's why so many artists have to fight to stay who. A lot of people have tried to change me in this industry, and I'm so glad I didn't change to pop because I am where I am now because I stuck to my guns. I stayed true to myself. If I had changed,
damn straight, girl,
I wouldn't have been happy. I sing pop, but if I sing pop, I'm still putting rock into it. I'm not singing exactly pop, like real, like candy pop. But
you got to do sometimes you got to pay the bills.
Me. I like to sing music with attitude and punch and feeling.
And that shows through in your music.
And pop is good for people that want to sing pop, but I want to growl. I want to rasp. I want to play with the voice. It's me, like.
Oh yeah, well you can hear it, like you can hear that you can hear your spirit, at least very much so in a lot of stuff, especially the first song, the All or Nothing song, I think it is. That song, the very first song, All or Nothing, is very powerful. I mean, you can hear that in your voice. You're just
All or Nothing.
You're just like
the first song of my EP. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
I remember that.
It's kind of an angry song, man. It's like, yeah.
But it's angry, but it's about going to Montreal having a party.
Is it? Yeah, and you know, it did also. I noticed a lot of emotion in like the song "Didn't Last." There's a huge amount of emotion in that song.
That song has a story. That song almost didn't get on the record.
Really?
I had to fight for it. I told the producer, please, like, don't listen, because somebody had to sing the song, because that night I was so tired I couldn't sing. I couldn't sing the demo to show the producer, so somebody else sang it. And he's like, this is not the way the song is sung. I'm like, because it's not me singing it. Please let me sing it for you. So when I sang it, and then he found the right key for me, because he was always trying to see if the key that I wrote it in was for me. Because he said, if you have a lot of vocal range, let's find the right place for the song. So when I sang it, he's like, okay, now I hear it. Okay, it's a keeper. I love that song. It's so good, but I put a lot of emotion and feel into it. At the beginning, it sounded like I was crying, but I'm not. But I put that in it, and I had to fight for that song.
There's, like I said, there's a lot of you can tell there's a lot of emotion that went into that song between the music and the lyrics of the song. It comes through very clearly. My favorite though is the Paradise Comes with a Price. That song, out of all of them, I think that one kind of struck me a little personally, because it reminded me of some things, you know. And that's my favorite one.
It's about depression.
I believe it.
It's about mental health. A story about it. I wrote that song maybe a year or a few months after Robin Williams passed. So when I was writing that song, and I was with Joe, and he's like, I don't want to write a happy song. I feel like writing a sad song, but not like crying sad, more like help somebody sad. And then we were thinking, let's not write about drugs and alcohol. There's too much about that out there. And then I'm like, why don't we write about mental health? Not about depression, about how people can get through it and not give up on themselves. And then I thought of Robin Williams as the inspiration on how, what was he going through? And he was helping me, his spirit or something, you know. I was thinking, you know, but yeah, I was thinking of, like, ever since he died, I haven't watched a movie of his. He was one of my favorite actors, and I still haven't gotten to the point where I could watch his movies right now. It's too painful. Yeah. After what he went through, that led him there. So that's why I wrote this song, to tell people to hold on a bit longer.
It's a very bittersweet. It's a very bittersweet
and you
song.
will see the light. Yeah, the point of the song is to hold on a bit, and that you will see the light. And maybe you feel like you cannot ask for help, but you will at some point, hopefully, ask for help, because it is very, very difficult.
Yes. When
you're in that state, from knowing about it. But I remember the first time it came out, everybody was telling me that's the song that hit them.
Yeah. Well, it got me. I mean, like I said,
the message. Yeah, and actually,
it's a very bittersweet song. I mean, and there's not very many people, you know, around today that haven't been touched by, you know, mental health in some way.
Yeah,
especially now.
Yeah. And I contacted the kids' help phone line about a year after I released it, and they actually let me put their information for suicide under my video.
Cool.
So I got permission from them. I try to contact suicide lines to see if they can put my video, but sometimes they just put it on their site, but they don't keep it on their website.
Right.
But there is a Bell Let's Talk that happens here in Canada every year, once in a while, or once or twice a year. And I contacted them, and they finally got back to me about a year or so ago. And they tell me, anytime you want to post things about mental health, just put it on our page. And they promoted my my song.
And who is it?
Let me put my song.
Who is that again?
Bell Let's Talk. It's a mental health day or week in Ottawa. They do in Ontario. And everybody talks about their mental health during, that was like April, May, I think. But this year there was a lot because of the pandemic.
Right. Yeah, it's at an all-time high right now.
A lot more. And the sad thing about this whole pandemic is people who never experienced mental health are experiencing it now.
Yeah. Agreed.
People who were healthy, who were busy, didn't have like the down days, are now experiencing things they had never felt.
No.
Which is harder for them because they've never really experienced it. So a lot of people are going through mental health right now, and they might be hiding it.
A record number of people.
And depression is very. People suffer in silence a lot, and nobody talks about it.
Yeah, a lot of people.
So be careful when you go out, people, because you don't know if the person you're talking to is suffering too. You know, be nice, be kind. This year is not the best. I really hope next year something, some light comes up and clears everything. But we just have to give it time.
Yeah, definitely we're going to have to be a lot more patient and stuff, because this is something that's not, just going to go away overnight or whatever, despite what, the TV says or anything like that. And you got to show some kind of common sense. And if you got like, if you're feeling blue all the time and stuff like that, and it's something that's new to you, you definitely need to talk to somebody, we here at
talk to somebody or try to get some help. And a lot of therapy nowadays are happening on the computer.
Yeah, a lot of video.
They're doing group chats. You just have to be comfortable to open up.
Yeah, you have. Yeah,
and it takes time. And it takes time.
You have to take that first step, and that's a really big, scary step for a lot of people, especially people that have never experienced that kind of thing before. And because of the pandemic, there is a lot of that. You just got to take that first step. Like I said, we here at the Audioasylum fully support that. All of that stuff. Because it's no fun to suffer alone. And
when you take that first step and tell somebody that I think I'm going through this, you're gonna feel so good. But it takes a lot of strength. But you're going to feel so good once you actually admit to yourself and to somebody that I think I'm not feeling very good right now. I don't think my mind is focusing well. You don't have to be so specific on what's going on. You just have to be like, I think there's something wrong.
Take that first step, and then because everybody's different, so it's not all going to happen all at once or anything. But at least it's a first step. And, really, honestly, I mean, the best kind of cure for these kind of things, for me at least, has always been good music, man, because music takes you away.
And you know what the funny thing for me is, when I'm sad and not feeling good, I don't go for the happy songs. I go for the lovey-dovey, broken heart stuff, because I don't know, it helps me.
Right.
I don't need to listen to happy music. As long as it's a band that I enjoy, that song is going to get me off my own thought into something else.
Define happy music.
Dancing, hip-hop, stuff like that, which I don't really listen to. If I am really, really sad and I'm just having a really down day,
Yeah.
I have to admit it. So the only band that I can listen to that's going to stop my tears is Green Day.
Green Day. Yeah.
They have something in my heart that the minute, because I remember one year at the Grammys, Billy said on stage, if you want to be where I am right now, all you have to do is believe in yourself and work for it, and you can do it. He always says motivating things. So when I'm listening to him, I feel like he's telling me to feel good. You're going to be okay. Because he himself suffers anxiety.
Right.
A lot of musicians do. Mike, from the bassist in Green Day, he suffers panic attacks.
I think these kind of things are a lot more common than people think, though, too.
I think a lot of people suffer them, but so many people are afraid to say, because people react differently to people, and sometimes you don't want to hear that. Like, for example, depression is real. Some people say it isn't. Some people say depression is just something that makes you down and then you're going to be okay the next day. And that's false. Depression, my definition of depression is strength. You're a very strong person, but your body is weak because you try to be strong for so long. Depression does not mean you are weak. It just means you're just tired.
Yeah.
But you're still moving forward. People don't know that people who get depressed are actually working very hard in their life.
Yeah.
To succeed. To succeed. It's a lot of work.
Yeah.
So don't come to me and say that depression will fade. Some people live with it every day and take medication for it, go to therapy. You don't know how much panic attacks and anxiety comes with depression.
You just got to take that first step, you know.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I was saying.
I love talking about it because this should always be talked about.
Yeah. Yeah, and it is. It's not hidden away anymore, or not. You know, it's not shushed away like it used to be anymore.
I think now, because of the pandemic, I think people are really like, okay, I haven't felt this. What's going on?
Right.
You know, like. Yeah, there you go.
It's like I said, there's a lot of people that have never had it before that are getting it now and don't really recognize what it is because they've never dealt with it before.
Yeah, like I have people opening up to me, just telling me how they're feeling, and I'm like, dude.
So how are you doing up there? How are you doing up there with the pandemic? Are you guys shut in up there?
Restaurants are closed, but only open for takeout. Everything else is open, but the restaurants, I guess, they're closing it for now. We are not on lockdown, but the borders between here and the States are closed for another month. We still have to wear our masks and social distance, but I haven't heard anything that has gone bad. But we still have to be careful.
Yeah, exactly.
And watch. Oh yeah, everybody's wearing a mask, but you have to. You have to. This is not a joke, guys. This is real.
Were you touring at all when this started?
I wanted to perform when this started.
No, were you like doing shows, like and stuff like that you had to stop whenever this all started?
No, but I wanted to go out and do festivals, and go around and book shows, but I couldn't because everything was closed.
Yeah, nobody's open. Yeah.
So what I did was I said, hey, don't think everything has stopped. Do something. Write some music, interact with people on the net, and contact radio stations. And so this whole year, all I've been doing was pushing my songs to mainstream. And I was like 3-4 hours on the computer, following up, messaging, and I'm still going. Like, in this business, you have to always push your music either way you're performing or not. You have to keep reminding people that you're there and update your social media and keep interacting with people, because now everything's on the net.
Yeah.
And also, because I'm not performing, I've been doing virtual concerts online.
Yeah, I caught one of those when you were doing.
Oh yeah,
those. I
nice.
did catch one of those. It was I saw it. Well, I saw it was it was promoted on a different Facebook page, I think, and I was like, oh, I know that girl.
T100.
I think that's what it was. It was like on one of the radio websites. Network sites.
I sang a One Chance and Breakthrough.
Yeah.
Cool. You got the one in my basement where it was echoing.
I did see that.
At that
cool.
time, my basement was being fixed because we had a leak, so everything was empty. So the basement was my PA system and my mic, you know. But now everything's back, so there's no echo. But yeah, I was like, I'm gonna sing in the basement, and people are gonna think I have mics, but I don't. Yeah.
Well, the ambience, yeah, total ambience there.
Yeah, it's the reverb, the echo, the sound.
Right.
Yeah.
So like I said, are you like, writing some new stuff? Are we gonna hear some new?
I am writing, but I'll go to the studio in the next year if I can.
Right. Yeah.
If I can. But I'm praying because I need the studio. Like, I love being in the studio.
Right.
It's where everything comes out. I write here or I co-write. I make a little demo with the songwriter, or I do it myself, and then I present it to the producer, and then we go from there. But I need to be able to go. I mean, I need to be able to go to the studio. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that's where the magic happens, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, this whole pandemic thing has just been such a hindrance on so many bands and so many venues and stuff like that. You know, here especially. I mean, we're a huge hub for music here, from all over the place, and it's just been such a such a downer. You know, that this whole thing has happened, and people need music. I think it's an integral part of people's lives. And it's like food, you know. And I hear that artists are doing like Billie Eilish just did a concert that people went to see, and I heard that it was good. Of course, more people.
She is very good.
Well, it started with a lot of the smaller bands. Like a lot of the local bands and stuff, and they were doing, I mean, especially when the lockdowns first started here, it started with a lot of the local bands, and they were all doing, the live jams on, Facebook Live and stuff like that.
Facebook Live. Yeah.
And then, I think that spread, because then there were other bands, some of the more well-known bands were starting to do, collabs with other bands, and they were having live Facebook jams and things like that. And it's just kind of blossomed from there.
And then, you know what? I bet you when everything is better, they're still gonna do that.
I hope so. I hope so, because there have been so many.
You need to connect.
Well, there's been so many great collaborations that I've personally listened to and posted on our page. That is just, some of that stuff is just phenomenal.
Yeah,
you get a lot of bands that have gotten together with other bands, and they've branched out and done things that you would never think they would do. I like one of the most classic thrash metal bands, one of the original bands. They're called Death Angel. They just released this really cool little acoustic cover set.
Cool.
That is just really cool. And but it's the songs that they chose. Like, one of the songs is a Queen song, and
which one?
I think it's like right stuck on it's like stuck on the tip of my tongue. And now if you hadn't asked me that, I could have told you. It's the one that he did with.
I love Freddie Mercury.
It's the one he did with David Bowie. It's
okay. Okay, I don't know the name, but I know which song you're talking about. I can't remember
I'll
the
think
name.
of it. Give me a second. Give me a second to get my mind off of it, and I can tell you.
It will come to your mind. Yeah.
Anyway, but my point was that, you know, I think this thing, this whole thing has kind of really forced the music industry in general to take an entirely different approach to how they're going to do things from now on. At least
I think so too.
At least until this is over with, you know, which could be, you know, anytime between now and, you know, 2 years from now. And this is a reality that we have to face.
Hopefully not.
Yeah, hopefully not.
But
Yeah, hopefully not. But nobody really knows exactly. And so, you know, and I think the music biz has really kind of adjusted to it, or having to out of necessity. And I think we're going to see some really badass collaborations between a lot of artists that you wouldn't normally see collab. I mean, I
am interested to see what bands are doing because some bands like Green Day, I don't know what I know Billy is releasing every Monday a cover song from Green Day, but I don't know, he might be in the works doing something, but some bands are quiet when they're working on projects too.
And then they just kind of spring it out on you, you know. That's what I would
like
do.
A Simple Plan does that.
They
go
totally
quiet for a few months, and then boom, a single comes out. Oh, yay! But it's smart. So you wonder why they're quiet, and boom, they shock you with this amazing song, you know? Like, it's good to be quiet once in a while to make us wait.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it's good to have a surprise now and then, I think, too, you know, and all the best...
I'd rather be surprised.
All the best bands do that.
Than know everything.
All the best bands, I think, do that. They you know, they surprise their fans, you know, with things, you know, because everybody's going through this, you know, and so things like that are very important now to the fans of everyone, really. I mean, just to the fans in general. Mm-hmm. And the really good bands, that's what they're doing. And so, you know, all we can do is, you know, we can stay safe and keep our loved ones, you know, safe and do what we can, you know, and just kind of keep plodding on and enjoying all the music and all the cool stuff that's coming out of it, because that's really all you can do.
A lot of people are posting things online. You just got to find them. But there's a lot of things happening online that the people are doing during this time. So
right. So I also had a question about what your playlist here. Which of these songs would you say is most reflective of you directly?
Ooh, because most of them are me. Because I read about me and what others go through. Well, okay. The one that is the closest to my heart would be Hurt, because I wrote it about a recent experience that I had to walk away from my friend, and I didn't feel she was supporting me in what I was doing, and I was supporting her, and I felt our friendship was moving away. Like, I didn't feel there was a best friendship anymore, and it hurt. But if I didn't walk away, I felt I was stuck if I didn't walk away. So I walked away. And then an opportunity to go to Nashville happened, and then that's when I wrote the song. And actually, since I released that song, I've had a couple people come up to me and say how that song helped them because they went through a similar situation, and that, wow, I feel good that I actually left that situation. Because in life, sometimes you have to walk away from things to move on, to move forward.
Yeah. It's a painful lesson to learn, for sure.
But it was hard to walk.
Yeah.
But I just said hell with it.
Yeah.
I didn't even tell the person I walked. I just walked. I just deleted and blocked and walked away and said, because at that time I was so hurt and young, of course. I wasn't thinking straight. I'm like, I'm not going to explain myself. I'm going. And I'm glad I didn't explain myself because I didn't have to. Right. That person should know what they did already.
Right. Yeah.
Sometimes they will figure it out. You know?
Yeah, exactly. So if that one's the most reflective of you, then then what? One of my other questions I always ask, and I hate using the word favorite, man, because that word gets thrown around way too much. So instead, I will ask you, who is your dream co-singer? Like, if you could sing with anybody, who would it be?
Billy Joe Armstrong.
Yeah.
He'll be my first one.
How did
and
I
then
know?
Bon Jovi, and then Billy Idol, and then Simple Plan.
How did I know you were going to say that? But I had to
because
ask.
everybody that asked me, who would you want to tour with? Green Day. Who do you want to ride by with? Green Day. Who do you want to sing with? Green Day. Who do you want to be with? Green Day. Who is your life? Green Day. Who is your idol? Green Day. Like, come on, guys. Don't ask me those questions.
Well, I had to ask. You know,
I know, but honestly, he's my first. But there's so many people I would love to sing with. But Billy is like, oh my God, like
a little bit of a fan, are you?
He'll be a little bit. he'll be a dream. It'll be a dream. If I even get to, like, I've seen him live.
That was my next question: is how many times have you seen Green Day live now?
Twice. I saw them, American Idiot and 21st Century Breakdown.
Ah, those were pretty good albums for him.
Yeah, American Idiot is what got me into it. So I thank him for that. I thank you, Green Day, for making that record. I know it was towards the government at that time that was your president. I know it was politics, but man, was the story, that album was like a book. If you read it, instead of singing it, it's like a book.
Oh, yeah?
And when I bought the album, I didn't buy the CD. I bought the book format, so I'm like opening a book, reading the lyrics. And then his handwritten lyrics were there. It's amazing.
Wow. I have to check that out. I've never actually read the lyrics to it.
And do you want to know the funny thing?
Right.
My cousin Jeff introduced me to Green Day's music, and he first showed me Sloppy Hour, the first one with their independent label, then Kaplunk, then Dookie with the Warner label. And then since that day, I was like, 15, 16 at that time? He's like, I tell you, give it a few years, you'll be over Green Day, and then you'll move to a different band and fall in love with them. Guess what?
No
10,
chance.
15 years later, I'm still listening to Green Day, and he's still saying, you haven't moved on? No.
Well, my mom still thinks that, the whole heavy metal thing it was a phase. She's like, you're over 50. How can you still listen to that?
No. There's no phase. Once you are caught into something you're in love with that.
Once it's in your veins, it never leaves.
Oh, no.
You know?
And the funny thing is, when people don't know, I'm like this huge fan that will support them and defend them.
Well.
And when they come to me and say all the negative stuff about them, I'm like, just so you know, before you go more forward into that discussion, I'm a Green Day fan. So just be careful.
Watch your mouth.
Be careful, because I defend them.
Because you might get a black eye.
I used to defend them so much that people thought I was like working for them. Like, do you have to defend them? Yeah.
What are you, their
That's
PR guy?
That's how much I love them. I defend them. I do other bands too, but they're like, okay, if you don't like them, just say it. Don't explain it. I don't want to hear anything.
So so hopefully when this whole thing is done, we'll be looking for that Green Day Sabrina Fallah world tour then, right?
Oh yeah. Don't get me going. I would love, even if it's just one song to sing with them, or even two songs to open up for them. I probably won't even be able to sing. I'll be so shocked by it. Sabrina, sing. You're opening up for Green Day. Sing. Billy, can you sing? I'll be so in shock, but I'm sure I'll be able to do it. I bet you I'll be singing a Green Day song too with them. That'd be awesome.
So what's on the agenda for coming up for Sabrina? What's on the agenda?
Can I mention other stations on here? Or?
Mention whatever you want to.
Okay. Oh, geez. What's the name of that station? Just hold on a second. I'll get it. Oh, yeah. WBLQ 1230 AM is a station in Rhode Island. And I got an opportunity to have an early morning interview with them on Halloween day.
Oh, you're going to dress up?
Oh, yeah. They can't even see me. 6 a.m. Eastern Time.
Wow.
I'm going to be up at 5 a.m. with my coffee, enjoying myself. And after that interview, I'm going to watch Chucky, Hocus Pocus, probably some Michael Myers, anything to keep me up and just rock, because Halloween day is like horror movie.
Oh, yeah. It's been like that here for the last week. Nothing but horror movies.
I'm just going to watch horror movies all day. Yeah. And I mean, and I am a huge fan of it to the point that I can be like in the darkness, everything off. And there could be like a big bang in the movie, and I'm just staring at it like, that's it? Like,
oh, you
haven't got me yet.
Oh, you're a hard to impress horror fan, aren't you?
Let's just say when Chucky is running after somebody to kill them, I'm laughing because Chucky is so cute. I'm coming for you,
That's funny.
Yeah, when I'm in the theater watching horror movies, I literally want to tell people to stop screaming, and then I try to save the popcorn, and my friend throws it up. I'm like, don't throw the popcorn.
That shit's expensive.
But, yeah, but you can be so. But the thing is, my friends always told me I ruin the point of horror films because I don't get scared. I get entertained. I don't get scared. I can watch 5 horror movies and go to bed and dream about rainbows. I don't get like horror movie dreams after watching a horror movie. I do get nightmares at times, but it doesn't happen when I'm watching a horror film.
What's your earliest recollection of a Halloween costume? Do you guys do that there?
I think the last Halloween costume I had was Chucky's bride.
No, okay. What was your earliest memory? Like what do you remember as your very first Halloween costume?
Oh, I think it was Batman or Sailor Moon. I still have the Sailor Moon wig. I still have the costume. I remember being Scream. I still have the oh my God, Scream would be so good. They're actually making a Scream 5.
Yes, I heard that. Yes.
I'm waiting for it. I am waiting for it.
You know, I meant to mention this earlier, but talking about horror stuff. One of my favorite songs that you do is that the Kiss is a Killer song. I like that song. But the reason why I like it above anything else is because it has this one line in it that is just the best. And I'll tell you why. the line that you say, where you say, I'm Tokyo and you're Godzilla.
And you're Godzilla.
That was the very first song that I'd ever heard from you. First off, from that station.
Thank you.
And the reason why
thanks Bill for that line, because my co-writer is the one that thought of that line for the song. And then Bill told me, I write this line. That's going to be the line that people are going to remember, because it's like a hook. It's like the catchphrase or something. Well,
you're talking to one of the biggest Godzilla fans in the universe. So,
oh, look at that!
So
I've only seen one Godzilla movie or something once, and he put it in there, and I'm like, all right.
So like, yeah, anytime I hear the big guy mentioned in any song that's not like a Blue Oyster Cult song or, some trash metal band, I'm always interested.
Wow, and this is not the first time somebody has mentioned that, but you are saying it differently. But yeah, I give back credit to Bill because he is the one that thought of that line. But
it's that stuck with me.
Yeah, it is that's when I first released the EP, a lot of people were always saying, I like that line. The Godzilla line is like there's something about that line that are connecting.
Yeah, and I also think that in the context of the song itself, that line is very relatable because anyone that's ever been dumped or anything, I mean, or had their heart broken and stuff, I mean, that's what you feel like you've been nuked.
Oh my God! Yes.
So yeah, I mean, it's a very relatable line and everything, and that, like I said, that's the first song I'd ever heard from you, and that's when I heard that line, I was like, oh, I got to listen to the rest of this girl's stuff because anyone that can put Godzilla in a song about that, I'm down with that. Well, thanks for hanging out with us tonight. It has been so awesome.
I really enjoyed it. It's late. I'm actually in my room with no lights on because I love the dark. And
well, I'm a night owl, so I actually just got up a little while ago. I'm still drinking coffee.
You know what? I would love a coffee.
Well, come on over. We'll have some coffee. I got some banana nut muffins too. You can have one of those too.
I've had coffee after a show at midnight, and I jumped into bed. Oh, it was great. Like, coffee doesn't keep me up or put me to sleep. Like, I can have it at any time and still go to bed.
Well, come on over. We'll have some coffee and some muffins and hang out and watch horror movies.
Okay. I'll be there in 5 minutes.
Gotcha. Thanks for hanging out with us. It's been an extreme pleasure, and I appreciate you taking time.
I really enjoyed it.
Well, we hope you have you back. Hopefully after all this is over.
I'll stay in touch with you, and hopefully by next year or even soon. Who knows? You never know what else comes, because anything can happen. Some project can come. I just got this interview a couple of days ago for Halloween, so things happen fast. If you work at it and think positive, things just pop up in front of you. So I am ready for anything.
Well, that's the way it should be.
I will definitely stay in touch, and hopefully I have some more songs next year, because I have songs written that I really want to put in the recorded in the studio, so I can tell the world what is Sabrina going through now. And I just want to put out there that I don't write about COVID. I don't want to write about what I'm dealing with COVID, because when COVID's all gone, I don't want that song to still be there talking about something that people didn't even want to go through. So I'm not the artist that will write about the pandemic.
Well,
my label told me not to do it for reasons, because they said once the pandemic is over, you don't want that to be online, still promoting the pandemic. So, and I agree. I don't even want to put down how I'm feeling with the pandemic. It's not good.
Well, hopefully the new year will bring us something better. You know what I'm saying?
I'm very positive, and that's why I'm writing about positive stuff. Yeah.
Great. Well, like I said, it has been so awesome to hang out with you.
Yeah, thank you.
It's been great.
We have to do it again soon. Anytime you want me on the air.
You are welcome here anytime. Oh,
okay.
You are welcome anytime. Anytime you get bored, if you're bored, just give us a call. We're here.
Awesome. I'll just wake up and say I'm bored.
There you go, because we're always open. We're always open. We'll break into the radio, and we'll put you on air, and we'll just rap and see what happens.
Sounds good.
That's awesome. I am Scary Billy Drex. You are live and loud. We have been sitting down talking to Canada's own songbird, Sabrina Fallah. She is awesome. And stay around for Red Radio a little bit later, and we are going to feature some of her songs in that as well. So hope to see you there. Red Radio, of course, starts at 9 p.m. Navajo time or Mountain Standard Time if you live in the occupied territories. And we'll see you then. Thanks for hanging out with us, Sabrina. You are awesome. And you are welcome back
Thank
anytime.
you.
All right.
And thank you.
All right. Scary Billy Drex in the Audioasylum, live and loud.
Scary's
Audioasylum track.
Medicating sound.